The Starblade's Path. Chapter 1. The Weight of Nothing. Dylan Wade's life was a slow bleed, and he was too damn tired to give a shit. The gas station's fluorescent lights flickered like a migraine, casting a jaundiced glow over dusty shelves of beef jerky and off-brand soda. Outside, the coastal wind howled, rattling the windows and carrying the briny stink of low tide. Midnight in this rotting town where rusted shipyards loomed like skeletons and crab traps mouldered on sagging docks. The highway stretched past, lined with shuttered diners and faded billboards for lobster rolls, promising escape to somewhere that wasn't here. Dylan slouched behind the counter, his gut spilling over his belt, his Metallica tee clinging to sweat-damp skin. 25, and he was already at a hopeless dead end. He rubbed his bloodshot eyes, the clock's red digits mocking him at 2:03 a.m., 2 more hours till he could limp back to his shithole apartment above the laundromat, crack a Narragansett, and doom Scroll X until he blacked out. No girlfriend, no real friends, just this job and a bank account that spat in his face. Depression wasn't a condition, it was the air he breathed, heavy with the tang of diesel and despair. The bell above the door jingled and a girl walked in, mid-20s, brunette, in a flannel and jeans that hugged her just right. She had that artsy vibe, probably slumming it here before heading back to some college town. Dylan's heart did a stupid little flip. He straightened, wiping his hands on his jeans, and tried to smile without looking like a creep. "Evening," he said, voice rough from disuse. "Need help finding anything?" She glanced at him, her green eyes flicking over his paunch, his greasy stubble, his whole sad existence. "Just grabbing a water," she said, her tone clipped, but not unkind. She moved to the cooler, and Dylan caught himself staring. Maybe she'd linger. Maybe she'd see something in him worth a damn. She returned with a bottle, sliding it across the counter. Their fingers brushed, and Dylan's pulse jumped. "So, you from around here?" he asked, ringing her up, trying to sound casual. Her lips curved, almost a smile. "Passing through. Got a gig up the coast." "A musician, maybe?" She leaned in slightly, and for a second he hoped she was flirting. "Cool," he said, fumbling for words. "If you're ever back, maybe we could—" Her smile vanished, replaced by a look that gutted him. Pity, laced with disgust. "Yeah, no," she said, stepping back. "Just the water, thanks." She tossed a couple bucks on the counter, grabbed the bottle, and was gone. The bells jangled like a slap. Dylan's face burned. He sank back onto the stool, the rejection sinking claws into his chest. Loser! She'd seen right through him, seen the nothing he was. His hands shook as he shoved the cash in the register, the memory of her eyes branding him worthless. The bell rang again, and Nate shuffled in, all twitchy energy and stained hoodie. Nate was Dylan's only tether to something like friendship, a holdover from when they both slung slushies here. Now, Nate hustled, which meant peddling weed and sketchier shit to the town's lowlifes. "Yo, Dylan," Nate said, grinning like he'd just won a bet. "You look like someone pissed in your coffee." "Fuck off," Dylan muttered, but there was no heat in it. He rang up the gum Nate slapped down. "What do you want?" "Just checking on my boy." Nate leaned on the counter, reeking of cheap weed and desperation. "Had a wild day, man. You want to hear?" "Not really." Nate ignored him, eyes glinting. "So I'm meeting this dude to sell some pills, right? Shady guy, big beard, looks like he lives in a van. We're in the lot by the old cannery, and he pulls out this wad of cash, but get this, he's got a pet ferret in his jacket. Thing goes apeshit, jumps out, bites my ankle. I'm yelling, is yelling. The cash flies everywhere. Ferret's got my shoelace. I'm hopping around like an idiot. Finally grab the money, but the dude's laughing so hard he forgets to haggle." Nate cackled, slapping the counter. Made an extra 50 because of that furry little bastard. Dylan snorted despite himself. You're a mess, Nate. Takes one to know one. Nate's grin sharpened. Speaking of, I got something new. Starshatter, psychedelic, but not like the usual crap. This shit's cosmic. Rewires your brain, cuts your soul loose. Heard it turned some accountant into a painter. Got him laid and living large. Dylan's stomach twisted. Sounds like a stroke in a pill. Maybe, Nate said, shrugging. But I know a guy who took it. Said he saw shit. Stars, other worlds. Changed him. You could use a change, man. No offense, but you're dying here. Dylan's jaw tightened. He thought of the girl's pity, the endless nights alone. I'm fine. Bullshit. Nate's voice softened, just a fraction. You're drowning, Dylan, I see it. Starshatter's a lifeline. I can hook you up. You know where I'm at. Dylan didn't answer, just slid Nate's change across the counter. The idea of Starshatter lodged in his brain like a splinter. Crazy, dangerous, but tempting. Nate gave a mock salute and slipped out, leaving Dylan with the hum of the cooler and the weight of his own failure. The shift dragged on. A trucker bought smokes. A kid swiped a candy bar and bolted. Dylan mopped the floor, the bleach fumes stinging his eyes, the girl's rejection replaying like a bad song. By 3 a.m., he locked up, the coastal wind cutting through his jacket as he stepped into the night. The town sprawled around him, a graveyard of weathered clapboard houses and abandoned boatyards, the ocean's roar, a constant, bitter hymn. He trudged toward his apartment, cutting through an alley that stank of piss and fish guts. Footsteps echoed behind him, his gut clenched. He walked faster, but the steps matched his pace. A low laugh crawled up his spine, and he turned, too late. 3 figures in hoodies loomed, faces shadowed. The leader's knife glinted, cold as the stars above. "Wallet," he snarled. "Now!" Dylan's hands shook as he fumbled for his wallet. "I got like $20. The knife slashed his cheek, blood, hot and sudden. Dylan stumbled, hitting the wall. The leader grabbed his collar, slamming him against brick. "Wallet, phone, everything!" Terror choked him. He shoved his wallet and cracked phone at them, but the leader's eyes gleamed with something worse than greed. The other 2 closed in, one flashing brass knuckles. Dylan's voice broke. "Please, I don't—" The knuckles cracked his jaw, and the world tilted. He hit the pavement, tasting copper. A boot smashed his ribs, then again pain exploding like thunder. Curling up, he gasped as the leader crouched, knife hovering near his eye. "Pathetic," he spat, then drove the blade into Dylan's shoulder. Dylan screamed, the sound raw and ragged. The knife twisted, and the thugs laughed, their steps fading as they left him bleeding. He lay there, shivering, blood pooling on asphalt. His wallet, his phone, his pride, gone. He was nothing. He dragged himself up, pain lancing through him, and staggered to his apartment. The mirror showed a wreck, split cheek, swollen jaw, blood-soaked jacket. He bandaged his shoulder with a rag, too broken to care. Sitting on his sagging couch, the girl's disgust and the robbery's violence crushed him. He was a loser, weak, alone. His mum's voice, faint from years ago, said he could be more. Lies. Then Nate's words surfaced. Starshatter, a way out, reckless, stupid. But what was left to lose? He grabbed his jacket, pain be damned, and stumbled into the night toward Nate's duplex. The stars burned too bright, pulsing like a warning. Something was coming, and Dylan was too desperate to care.